Happy Easter, everybody. Happy Easter. He has risen. And I am celebrating by working hard on this piece. I want to finish it up today. Might finish it up during this video. If not, I'll probably, depending on how much work I get done, I might just finish it up afterwards. Might do a time-lapse video for you guys. So, I don't know. Maybe. We'll find out. So, my Easter present for you guys is I will be doing a book review of Ghosts of Matacumbe Key. That is the book by Graham Nolan. I really enjoyed this book. Um, he did it like an old horror crime novel. Um, Even before I opened up and looked at the black and white, because when I got it, I got the regular version, then I got the black and white version, then I got the ash can. But so when I first got it, I looked at the regular version, the colored version, and even when I was reading that, I just got that sense that this is like done like an old black and white movie. You know, the era of like Cagney and Bogart and Stewart. I just got that feeling from it. It was like an old crime noir story. So I really enjoyed it. And here's the thing I really liked about this is um, there was a straightforward story. There was not really any like it was basic story with your basic plot points. It was layered, but it wasn't complex. You know, sometimes they do these stories now that they're so complex. It's one of those where it's like well, it didn't you, you miss stuff. Okay, I don't like stories that are so complex. That's like that when you go, well, it didn't have this. You jump from here to here, and yeah, it was there. And you look at it, go back, and you go, it was there, but because you had so much else going on, it gets lost. Yes, I'm at my local bar. I'm getting at my local bar, and people are here, and they're being boisterous. You get that when you leave your house and you enter the real world. So, anyway, but no, it was very basic story, but at the same time, also Graham was very good at keeping the story moving. Even like a talk scene, like when they're on the boat, it moves the story along. It's not just there for self indulgent of the artist, but at the same time, also when you look at his other stories, I don't know what's going on here. When you look at how, there we go. So, okay, I'm just having a hell of a time today. Maybe I shouldn't have done this video. Maybe it's my nib saying I shouldn't have done this video. But okay, keeping it, keep moving right along, moving right along. So, but no, when you look at how Graham did his other campaigns, when he did the Shae, when he did uh, Alien Alamo, okay, in Shae is a basic horror story where you were pretty much like your characters were in the house almost the entire time, and they were then like having to escape the Shae, and even then they just escaped into a snowstorm. And then when we went to Alien Alamo, your two locations were the cave and the house where uh, the boy and his father were. Okay. This time with this one, uh, it was much broader. You had multiple locations. Right at the beginning, you've got the security guard who is, the ghost. He scared me. I'm going to run away. And then in their office, then in the boat, then in the swamps, then at the construction site, multiple locations. So, and again, Graham did a very good job of moving the story along in those when it could have been a talk scene, he gets even the pages there are talk. It's direct to the point, and then moves on to the next one. And but there's still action in almost every single scene to keep you glued in and keep you turning the pages. No one's those where it's like, oh, we got 5 pages of talking. Okay. So he was very good about that. So yeah, I don't know what's going on today. I think it's because I'm trying to put. I think I know what's going on with me today is that I'm trying not to overload the nib, so I put it in. I don't get enough ink onto the nib to. So, but it happens. Plus, also I'm talking to you guys, so okay. But anyway, so no, he keeps the story moving along, and because he has so many characters, some of those characters were bros. Right off the bat, when you have the one security guard, it's Artibert with his dog Arrow. You have the construction foreman is Billy Tucci, and all these characters that he has in it, they were needed for the story. It wasn't like it's not like he like put he didn't create characters specifically for the bros. He wrote it out, and then after he wrote it out, it's like, well, you know what? I could make this. I could have this character as Billy Tucci. I could have this character as Aaron Lopresti. And they weren't and it wasn't these side characters weren't the only side characters. The bros weren't the only side characters. There was numerous other side characters. In fact, there are so many side characters. One of the things I think Graham might have missed out on was uh, he didn't have the opportunity to have the where you can buy yourself into the book and you could have yourself drawn into the book. I think he kind of missed out on some lucrative, uh, you know, he missed out on some money. But I mean that happens. But so it wasn't forced to have the bros in there. He even had Dink and Mel from his Sunshine State. He had them in the book, and if you look at it with Dink and Mel, Dink is just there, but Mel, glorious Mel, the alligator from the Sunshine State. We get to see Mel, and Mel is the hero we always knew he would be, and that was so much fun. I remember right when it happened, I was like, "Oh, there we go! Mel is the hero of the story." And whenever people are commenting on social media about the book, lots of times I put in the book, put in as a joke. I go, "Yeah, what's great about this book is we get to see Mel being the hero he was meant to be." And a lot of times, Graham will give me a thumbs up or a like or whatever for my comment because I did like that. I liked how, and that's how he does a lot of times with Mel. Is that uh, like, are you worried about tax season, Mel? No. Weren't you afraid of the IRS coming to your house and auditing you? He's like, I used to have that problem. The next panel shows him. Uh, Here he's big and fat, and here he obviously ate the IRS agents that went to audit him. So, but no, I really enjoyed it a lot immensely. Um, with Misty's the female character. One thing I really liked about it is he establishes when he was campaigning it that Misty has these like psychic abilities. What I really liked about it with how he did that is we follow Misty as her journey of developing and expanding her abilities, but she's not handicapped by them. That seems to be a movie cliche now with uh, uh, most superhero movies is you got to go through and show them developing their powers and they're freaking out because they have these abilities and then learning how to use them and in the final moment they master their abilities to defeat the bad guy and so it's like we're all over it. That is not what happens here. Again, Misty's developing her abilities. She's comfortable with them as she learns how to master them or and she's not handicapped by them, which I thought was great. So, one of the things also, the only thing that was missing from Graham's book, because he put so many like Easter eggs in, like Mel and Dink, the Bros. The only thing he didn't include, he did have, when you go see the Tiki Bar, there is a shot of Julie in the background as one of the patrons. But where I think Graham missed out on was when he was in his early part of his career, and he'd have like the Batman driving through Gotham, and he'd have graffiti on the walls, and he'd have like Chuck's name or his daughter's names. Uh, when he did the Power of the Atom, okay, and I pointed this out to him when I saw him, and the first time I had him sign some books. One of the first ones I had him sign was a book of the Power of the Atom that he did, and in that book, the real reasons why is because he has it where he's like flying, he's like drifting on the air in the city, and he flies by, or in the scene, there is a movie theater, and in the marquee, he put the Searchers. And then he's driving by a business, and I can't remember whether it was the delivery truck or a storefront. The one said Julia's. I can't remember whether it was Julia's Bakery or Julia's Deli, and that's where I was like, is that I kind of wish that in like when he did Misty and Meathead in the office, maybe they'd had like a like a bag or maybe a box of crawlers or something, and it said Julia's Bakery on the box, or maybe it was a bag and of food, and it said Julia's Deli. That would have been neat. That would have been like including all the Easter eggs from his career when he was working for the mainstream. Kind of like hint hint, is this part of his other works? So, but I like I said, that was like the only like real like Easter egg he left out was how he used to do that with businesses, which he could have included. Another thing he missed out on is we he was telling us how Meathead was a former MMA fighter, and when they do establish that in the book, um, but it's just established that he says, "Yeah, I was a former MMA fighter." Um, this is where I think Graham again left money on the table. I could have seen him doing a companion book or supplemental book to the main book that you didn't need to back, but in it it would have supplied more of a story of where Misty and Meathead came from. As I was thinking about it, and like here's okay, he could have done a supplemental book with two stories in it. Each story is like 6 pages. Then you have your cover, so it would have been like a 14-page book. Okay, he could have done it like on cheaper paper, but he could have had like two stories, each 6 pages. One about Misty, who she was before she met Meathead. Same thing with Meathead, and he could have done it where it's like with Misty being a female pro wrestler, and done the story about her, and then at the very last page, someone's inviting her to go to this MMA fighter, and she's in the final panel. She's going, "Yeah, I'll go." And then you go to the next story, and it's about Meathead as an MMA fighter. And at the end of the story, here he's won his match, and he's at a posh party, and he bumps into Misty. I think that would have been like a neat companion book or a supplemental book to give us more about the characters without interfering. You didn't need it to. You wouldn't need to get it to follow the story, but it gives you more of a story about these characters. So that's just me. I mean, whether Graham would have wanted to do that himself or hire people to do it, because like Shane does that with his supplementals. But and that's just me, like I said. And the reason why I say this because I've noticed that a lot of creators who have the supplemental book, many times they end up having a much higher campaign, and they end with much more money. And I want the best. I want Graham to make all the money in the world that he can off of his ideas. So I'm gonna work up over here. So, but no. So I mean, that was really that. And then another thing I also want to address is there's a lot of shit talking about artists using. I think it's called 3D art. And you've heard Graham and Billy talk about how it's such a great tool. Graham does use that tool. Okay, if and there are times that Graham does it and you can't tell, and there's other times where it's there and you can just tell it so clearly. Um, when you look at Shanu, specifically when he does like the Pinto at the end of the story, and the giving birth to a kid, he's yeah, I know the people in the background are really starting to distract me. Um, but when you see that Pinto, it's glaringly obvious that it's like almost for me. I looked at it, it almost looked like it was cut and paste. And then when you have uh, Alien Alamo, he has videos of him using uh, reference material. He found the Jeep to the exact angle he wanted, put it in, drew over it, then inked over it. And same thing with when now the excavator at the very end of Alien Alamo, that's glaringly obvious that that's a like what I call cut and paste of the excavator. And in Ghosts of Matacumbe Key, there's numerous vehicles in this story, and you can tell in some of the cases, and you can tell when some of these vehicles, like the excavator at the construction site, you can tell that that's being used. So when you have these artists, when you get this shit talking about like people using this stuff and oh I don't use that stuff, hey, it's as Graham always puts it, it's an arrow in the quiver. It's a tool for you to use. It's all about whether you use it well or not. And there are times that Graham does a great job with it, and there's other times he doesn't do a good job with it, just like all artists. So, but no, again, I looked at it and I just felt like I had to put my 2 cents in. And it's like, hey, Graham uses it too, but he does a good job with it. So, okay, let's go in here. Let's get this part done. I think I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna kill this down. I'm just gonna kill this down by covering the whole thing, the whole belt buckle with dots. I'll just leave a little bit at the bottom. But I think that looks better because that'll pull the hand forward away from his body by just killing the hole here. And then what I'll do is here. What we'll do is we'll just let's get there we go. Just pull a little bit of dots down. So, but the other thing I also wanted to talk about. Oh, last thing before I leave the subject of Graham's Ghosts of Matacumbe Key. The other thing also that I thought where Graham left stuff on the table was, first of all, I love the very end when he shows mile marker 1. And I don't want to give anything away other than the fact that you can see that it's a facility. Okay. I wish he had given himself more time, more space. When I say that, he has like one page showing this facility. And for there, I was almost like, that's where he really should have had a, uh, a double page spread. And when he did that facility, he should have gone full Kirby on that. And like, just huge, expansive facility with all this like Kirby tech. And I thought, and then have like inset panels inside the double page spread. I think that would have been awesome. He didn't, but I mean, hopefully when he does if he does more with mile marker 1, he'll go further and give us that double page splash of just Kirby of the facility with all the Kirby tech. I think he would get a blast out of doing that, and of course we would all benefit from that. So, okay, I'm almost about done with this. Well, I'm not, but done working on paper. I guess I would say we'll work down here. So, um, also one thing I want to touch on is the new creator Von Coleman. Okay, um, very energetic, very enthusiastic young man. What I really like is how like he's got some thick skin. The reason why I say that is because you can see when he streams with the other older people how like they just give him hell and they just rib him, and he just takes it with a laugh and a smile. He's it's like I get the sense of like growing up. Now keep in mind, remember Von Coleman, his father died in 9/11. He was a firefighter. I think he lost his uncle too. I get the sense that he had a lot of like adult male family members that took up the mantle of a father figure for him. And I think about my own uncles and how they do the ribbing and teasing with boys, and uh, that's what happened with Vaughn, I suspect, because he comes forward of having that of being teased, but not being not being teased maliciously, and learning like a man to laugh it off and not to take everything so seriously. I He's really since he's come on the scene, I've really been impressed with him, and because of his youth and his vivaciousness with comic books and the storytelling method, um, I do see him as a future leader in the indie scene. So he's going to have his campaign launch on the 19th of April. He's going to have it launch on Reenie's channel, and he's going to have it available on Fund My Comic. So I'm looking forward to the relaunch of that. Now he also has an art contest. I haven't done it, started anything on it, but he's can't the date to have everything finished is. I gotta change the position. All fan art contest pieces are due by the close of the campaign. So, and he's going to do a separate stream talking about to judge them. I haven't started anything about it. I mean, I was sat down last night after I was taking made my notes for today's show. Yeah, I that was the thing about this show is I was like, I can't really wing it, and so I took a lot of notes. I got a sheet here. And see, I got a sheet here of notes to help me along. But he's going to have the fan art contest. It's of his main character, Galvanite, and either having him as in his costume or in regular clothes. His abilities are electrical base and speed. I was just doodling last night. Really couldn't come up with anything really. I think with me, I would have to know more because I don't like just doing a stereotypical action shot pin up. I want to know more about what's going on, so I like put more into it. If you remember, if you looked at like some of my other pieces I've done, whether it be for Aaron or for the Diaz brothers, or the second campaign for Inglorious Rex, I needed more, really know about the characters, so I could really create a piece that you got the sense that this was really in the world in which these characters live. So, so that's the reason why maybe as time goes on, as he shows more artwork to help promote this campaign, I'll get a better sense that I can create a piece. So, but I am doing on the side. I am doing a fan art piece. I will show you here. This will be the first time I've shown it. So give me a minute here. Yeah, let's see here. Don't want to start it yet. I want to go up here. Sorry about this, guys. I really just want to get this part done. So, but no, I started my own fan piece. This is based off of the Nolan verse, and I'll show it to you in a moment. But I just did it on my own. I don't think Graham's ever going to have an fan art contest. But I'm just doing it for myself to have fun. So when I see him, I think it's going to be a Garden State this year. When I see him, I'll show it to him. I'll ask him to sign it. Maybe he will sign it. Maybe he won't. So okay, let's see here. Okay, so let me show you the last piece, the last thing, and then we'll be done. Remember, uh, be good to everyone. This is Easter. He has risen. Remember, he died for our sins. So be nice to everybody. Leave the house. Interact with somebody. So this is what I'm working on. So I have Monster Island, and I have Monster Island being invaded by the Krill. So I've got the characters fighting, and I have a lot of the characters losing. So like here, I have him. I just started here, but I've got him where they're swarming up his body, and he's was going to crush him with a rock, but he's now dropping the rock. You have AWOL here. He had a spear. He speared to him, but the acid from the krill's broken his spear. Oh gosh, I can't remember this guy's name off the top of my head. But I got him shooting some, and then I'm not so crazy about the woman. I don't know if I'm gonna have her keep her there or replace her. I don't know. And then of course I've got back here. You can see more of the island. I'm gonna have one of the flying creatures like burning the side of the mountain. Have maybe a creature here in the water. So, but that's just a piece I'm working on my own. So when I get more progress on this, I'll show it to you guys. But so, and remember, of course, this piece here and this piece will be available on Shae's art auction, which is in May. So, yeah, I think what I'm going to do after I get off this is I'm going to hit this with the eraser, and then after that, hit it with some more dots. I don't think I'm going to put that in there. I think I'll just use that spot there to put in my signature, or down here I'll put a signature. I don't know which. So we'll find out. So, guys, you guys have a great day. Remember, life is stressful. Just take it all one dot at a time.